Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to talk something about character classes. So character classes are nothing but they actually provide us a way to match up only one of a specific set of characters. So if we take a general example of a particular street name or a particular house name. So in our country we have house names like A, D2, where A actually specifies the building name, that is in which building do you live in. The second thing actually specifies the particular wing in that building, and this thing right here specifies the apartment number. So what I mean to say that every naming convention actually follows a particular format. So in the first part we will always have an alphabet, in the second part we will have alphabet, and in the third part we will have a numeric value. So this is what the format suggests, and what character classes allow us to do to check if a particular string follows that particular format. So the pattern which we are going to design for using a character class is somewhat different. So the first thing which we need to do is obviously we need to import RE, which is the regular expression module. And now let's actually write in a code to check for a particular pattern or a particular format. So as usual, we create a pattern here, and as usual we start a pattern with R, and this time in double quotes we specify a character class in square bracket like this. Now each and every class in a character class has to be specified in between these square brackets, and in these square brackets we actually specify the character class. So as the format of our apartment name is character, character and a number, so what we are going to do here is that we are going to specify the same in the form of a particular format. So let me just comment this thing here. So in the first class what we expect is that we should have alphabets from A to Z. So here we specify A and then give a minus sign to specify the range and then type in Z. So what this thing means is that this particular position could have characters from A to Z, but it cannot have any other thing right here. So this is what we have defined for the first place. Now for the second place, let's define the same thing as A to Z. And as the final thing is going to be a number, we specify the range as 0 to 9. So as you could see, our pattern right there is ready. Now let's take some strings and let's try to match them up with this pattern right here. So if we type if re dot search, and if we search for this pattern, and if we give a comma and specify the pattern as AA1, and in case if a match is found, let's say we want to print something like match found. So if we save the code and if we run this, as you could see, we get the result as match found, because this string actually matches up with this pattern, that is we have an alphabet, and then a numeric value. Now what if we actually make some changes over here, and instead of specifying a numeric value, let's also specify an alphabetical value over here. So if we save the code this time and if we try to run this code, as you could see, we don't get any match over here, because the pattern of this string is somewhat different than this, because the last thing right here is not actually a numeric value, but instead it is an alphabetical value. So now what if we actually have a number here, but instead of this AA, let's say we have some other character like AH6. So in this case, if we save the code and if we run this thing, and I guess I made a mistake here, this should not be an underscore, so I'm extremely sorry for that. This should be, so what I accidentally did is that while typing the minus sign, I actually held the shift key, so it actually became an underscore, and that's why we didn't get a match here. So this should be a dash here. So if we save the code and if we run this, as you could see, now we have a match over here. So make sure that you don't do any mistake like I did over here. Alright, so as you could see, now we could pass in any form of string to this thing right here, but the only thing which you need to take care of is that this particular string should match up with this pattern right here. So this is extremely useful if you are designing some websites and you want to accept data from the user, but before accepting the data you need to check that that data follows a particular pattern like this. So this is also extensively used when websites actually verify your email address, because email address also has a format like you have a certain string of characters, then you have a @ sign, and then you have a .com, and then you have the rest of the things. So this is extensively used when you actually want to verify any input as the user enters it. So as I said, what character classes actually do is that they provide a way to match only one of the specific set of characters. So here we have specified the set of characters from A to Z, and 0 to 9. So you could specify any class which you want. So let's assume that you don't want this entire range from A to Z. You could also specify the range which you desire in these square brackets. So we always mention the character classes in square brackets like this, and you could also design your very own format. So let's say you want to design some program to validate the license plate number. Now the license plate numbers and over the entire world are different. So as an exercise, what you could do is that you could specify the format of your country's license plate over here. So you could specify that pattern here and then try to enter a valid license plate number and then an invalid license plate number and see how your code is going to work out. So that's it for this lecture, and that was all about the character classes. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.